Hey, everybody, welcome to the inaugural YouTube/Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast with Bobby LaMarco. I'm your host today, folks, bringing you some NFL draft coverage, first reactions for some of these first round picks. We're going to be bringing you a bunch of content, reaction videos from the NFL draft after today, folks, as well. But make sure you're joining us here on the Razzball Fantasy Football channel. We're going to be doing this all off season. But the best part about Razzball, we just don't do football. We got baseball, hockey, basketball content across the board. So make sure you're going to razzball.com to check out all our content. It's really exciting stuff. Today, I'm lounging. I'm on the couch. I'm having a surge. By the way, they're not a sponsor. Can't even say it. But let's say the Surge White Claws, not going to lie. They're not too bad. They give you a little bit of how you doing. So I'm pretty excited for it. But today we're going to break down some of the fantasy relevant first round picks, some movement, some trades. The Saints, the Lions both traded up in the NFL draft. So we're going to talk about that today as well. But really, make sure you're checking out, follow this channel, subscribe, like, review, all that stuff for us here at Razzball Fantasy on YouTube. Make sure you're also following our day-to-day content on Razzball Fantasy IG and TikTok as well. But more importantly, go check out razzball.com. We're doing all fantastic work on the baseball side, the baseball season. We're going to be really ramping up NBA, you name it, football. We're excited, folks. But let's just break it down right now. We're going to talk a little bit about all the things that have happened so far. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sitting here watching the draft myself. It was a little boring at first. A lot of defensive players. I'm like, what's going on here? What am I going to talk about? Thank God, some of those picks came in pretty quick early because now I can actually talk about some things that happened. Because for picks 1 through 5, all defensive players. And I think the first fantasy relevant pick came at pick 6. And now Sam Darnold truthers out there are pretty excited about the fact that they will not have a quarterback coming in and taking his thunder, baby. We're going to have one more year of Sam Darnold with Ben McAdoo, by the way. And listen, Ben McAdoo had a lot of success with Eli Manning the first 3 years as an offensive coordinator. Yeah, his 2017 was a disaster, but we have to remember that offense completely lost. They lost Odell. They lost, Sterling Shepard was young, lost him. So I think that Ben McAdoo has shown a lot in this with his as a play caller from 2014 to 2016. I mean, shit, look what Odell did with Ben McAdoo. So I think Sam Darnold, now that he has a rock solid left tackle, they also already have a solid right tackle. But they also, this offseason, the Panthers have gone out and they have actually signed players like Bradley Bozeman, and they also brought in Austin Corbett. So they have 4 solid offensive linemen now on this team. So PFF ranked them 31st in the NFL last year after the season. So now, this being said, this is 4 of those 5 offensive linemen have been basically addressed. They have DJ Moore, who's been rock solid, but has not taken off yet because of the quarterback play. Robbie Anderson, a competent number 2. Terrace Marshall, who a lot of people liked, including myself last year. Hopefully he takes a step. And then finally you have Tommy Tremble, folks, which makes me tremble just thinking about not drafting him. But all serious aside, there's something going on here. And plus, Matt Rule needs to win now, right? So they're not going to draft the quarterback and have a quarterback controversy because if they don't play well, this made a ton of sense to save his job. But I think from this standpoint, though, I think Sam Darnold, remember last year, weeks 1 through 4, before he got hurt, he wasn't too bad. So I think that this is interesting news for 2 QB Superflex for Darnold. I think security on the offensive line is just awesome for CMC. I think that him and JT are the only real 2 options at 101 in redraft and PPR and half. So I think at that point, I'm probably leaning CMC a little bit too. Listen, I like to operate on the dangerous side. That's what we do here at Razzball. We operate on the dangerous side. So we might go CMC over JT, but either way, it's a win-win if you get the top 2 picks. The next fantasy relevant. I mean, the Giants obviously took another tackle. The Giants have a lot to work to do. I mean, Evan Neal's I'm a Giants fan. They let go of 4 of their 5 offensive linemen. Andrew Thomas was the only guy that they had coming back. They let go 4 of their 5 offensive linemen. And don't get me wrong, Brian Daboll, they had to come in and gut that thing. So I'm not surprised that happened. But at the same time, for the most part, it's just really when you're looking at this, I think it's a solid start that they have these 2 bookends for Daniel Jones, but they probably still need to do work on the offensive line. The first fantasy relevant player, of course, comes at pick 8. At pick 8, was Drake London. And when you're looking at Drake London, my thing is we're going to see more and more throughout training camp and stuff. And listen, when you're talking about top 10 wide receivers, the hit rate is better. We wrote an article, by the way, on Razzball.com. By the way, if you like Razzball, go check them out on the fantasy football section. Last year, I wrote an article about draft capital. Does it matter? And top 10 draft capital does matter. I mean, there's a over 50% hit rate for wide receivers. So Drake London going there to a Falcons team is good news. Plus, Marcus Mariota is competent enough. We saw Rashad Matthews, along with Delaney Walker, have fantasy viable seasons. Now, if we're not going to be drafting Drake London, I don't think anybody is, because of the situation, is going to be drafting Drake London as a top 24 wide receiver. I think that offers some value. As long as this guy's doing the right things, he's, dominating training camp and all that stuff. I think Drake London, really could be someone that we could find. He could be walking into a solid situation. If Rashad Matthews could produce, borderline, wide receiver 2 seasons with Marcus Mariota, why not Drake London, who, by the way, is just like 6'4" and runs like a gazelle. So pretty excited about all that. Jumping down, and listen, this is, by the way, here's my co-host this evening. Unfortunately, I could not get any of my fellow Razzballians on here, but I love them all anyway. My co-host is my dog, Sonny. Sonny, say hi to the people. Okay, a little shy. First show, you know what I mean? He's a little nervous about, getting on camera. It is what it is. But let's talk about Charles Cross. But before we do, listen, we have a couple of people in here. Nick's one of our Razzball writers and commentators. Believe it, I know, right? I mean, Hamilton's still on the board as safety. Listen, we're talking fantasy stuff here, folks. Come on, I mean, safeties, but listen, it's true though. The guy was supposed to be like one of the top players in the draft. G-Med, dang. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the thing about Razzball. We have a lot of different cooks in the kitchen. He's a Birds fan. I'm a Giants fan. This could cause a rift. Next thing you know, Razzball is shutting down. We don't know. That could be a problem. But anyway, let's get into, obviously, the number 9, the Seahawks. Listen, Charles Cross, listen, offensive tackle, whatever. It doesn't matter. We're not going to really worry about it because the Seahawks, without Russell Wilson at this point, they need to find a quarterback. I mean, they're going to play Geno Smith and Drew Lock at this point. What are we even doing here? Let's jump down to Chris Olave. Oh, I'm sorry. Number 10, the Jets. Garrett Wilson was a popular pick. We talked about him a couple times. If you're not following Razzball on TikTok and Instagram, we're doing day-to-day contact there. Make sure you go check out the content on there. That's awesome stuff. We talked a lot about the mock drafts. Garrett Wilson can fly. This guy, one out of Ohio State, pretty good vertical receiver. But the thing is, with the Jets, I know people don't want to hear this, but Corey Davis is a competent wide receiver. Elijah Moore is a very good, competent wide receiver. Zach Wilson, we're expecting Zach Wilson in year 2 to support. He's not going to be unless he becomes Joe Burrow. And by the way, even if he becomes Joe Burrow, does that automatically mean that he's going to have the same connection with his rookie receiver as Jamar Chase, who played together in college? Yes, I mean, I actually should check to see if he played at the same time because Ohio State makes Zach Wilson anyway. Forget I said that. But anyway, my point is there's a lot of mouths to feed. Corey Davis is going to demand targets. He was Zach Wilson's guy last year. Elijah Moore came on strong over the second half of the year. Then you add in Garrett Wilson. It's like, okay, is there going to be enough volume in a Shanahan type scheme with Mike LaFleur to support these guys for fantasy? So I'm interested to see where ADP falls. I'm not running out of my way to go, draft one of these guys just yet. It depends on where they're going, but I just don't see the upside. Think about it. Next thing, I'm jumping down to 11. Chris Olave going to the Saints. Chris Olave talk about just a beautiful compliment to Michael Thomas. Nice short to intermediate dominator. You have Chris Olave, by the way, who's just a vertical speedster. He could just blow the lid off. I mean, this guy was, 4.38, 94th percentile, 40-yard dash, 65th, and at 6 foot 185. So, I mean, this guy can fly. But my problem is, so if you do yourself a favor and check out the attempts from last year. The Saints were one of the lowest in the NFL. And with Jamison Winston, they were super conservative. And I know that, because they were in some weird game flows and stuff and yada, yada. But at the same time, Jamison Winston, I just don't know if they're going to have enough volume in the passing game to support Kamara, Mike Thomas, Chris Olave to be fantasy relevant, because we're talking about fantasy football here. I don't think Jameis is ever going. I know we're going to look at Jameis. Oh, yeah, Tampa Bay days. I understand he supported 2 receivers then. But at the same time, you got to look at the pass volume difference between Dirk Koyter in Tampa, Bruce Arians in Tampa, and what they've been doing the last few years in New Orleans. So unless they start airing it out a little bit more, maybe with Kamara out, they might rely more on Jameis. Who knows if that happens, if he gets suspended. But anyway, at 12, we have Jamison Williams. This Detroit actually traded up, and a lot of people thought they were trading for a quarterback. Malik Willis, one of these guys. I mean, Jared Goff at this point, you played with McVay. You play with McVay. You also play with a bunch of receivers and stuff like that. Quality receivers, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. Instead, this is my thing with this whole situation is like, now you get Jamison Williams. By the way, and they might feel confident because they got DJ Chark on a short deal. They have Josh Reynolds as a solid number 2 outside. They have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Hawkinson. They probably thought this guy in 2023 could be the best receiver in the draft, right? He's the best because he's off his ACL. So they might feel they have the time to wait for him to emerge. And now they got an alpha. So I do like the move. I like the aggressiveness from Detroit here. I mean, I think Jared Goff he's surprised a lot of people, actually. He was oddly competent when he didn't have the weapons. Maybe out of LA, the Detroit lifestyle, just building Fords or whatever. He decides to be really good, whatever. But at this point, as of right now, we're still waiting up. It looks like we have the Ravens, Texans, the Commanders as well. The Ravens just the pick is in. But yeah, man, we still have a lot of options to go along here. We have a lot of players still on the board. I'm pretty excited to see where we have the Packers and the Chiefs, some really good teams that need wide receivers. The wide receivers haven't gone completely nuts just yet, but some really good guys have gone in that 10, 11, 12 range. So, it's 4 guys off the board already at receiver. Does the heat start getting a little hot for the Packers and Chiefs? Knowing if this is going to be the case, if there's going to be maybe more teams coming up, like the Commanders, the Texans, the Eagles, all can take wide receivers. So maybe we'll see another trade up from the Packers or the Chiefs. But that's pretty much it, folks, for the first handful of picks. Obviously, make sure you're going to follow this channel. We are going to be doing a lot more fantasy football content on Razzball Fantasy on YouTube. We're also going to be on TikTok. We're also going to be on Instagram, bringing you a lot of content every single day. So we're pretty excited about this in the upcoming weeks. If you're a baseball fanatic, make sure you're checking out the baseball side as well. But once again, I'm your host, Bobby Lamarco. This is Razzball Fantasy. Make sure you follow us across the board. Like, comment, leave. This is the first app. I'll be on TikTok all night, folks. Not dancing, just bringing you football content. I'm Bobby. That's Sonny. We're out of here.